Unfortunately, a lot of men are not disciplined. They don't have the discipline it required to make those decisions to say, okay, I do not want a child.
Yeah.
So the simplest thing to do if you don't want a child is to wear a condom.
Ke ngwaletse Papgeld because ke na le bothata le papa ngwanaka. Like a ka nyamela for nako e telele. After a long time, o tlo utlwa ba re Presley was around ko Mafikeng. O tlile mo jarateng a tlo bona ngwana. That's it.
Can we talk like adults?
School fees is one hour. You don't even care. You send a message.
You don't care. The only thing that you care about
Is it like a huge male characteristic to be deadbeat? Like, honestly, like at first I really thought maybe this was a money thing, but it's clear that it's not a money thing. It's more than that.
I don't know. I'm not a deadbeat, so I really don't know the psychology behind it. Right?
But like, what do you think it is? Like, what is it? Because this is a serious issue. Like, it is a serious problem.
It seems like so. Us as men, we have this thing that we are biologically driven to spread our seed across the world or whatever.
Yeah, have as many kids as possible. Spread it and not.
So the problem comes there. The problem comes there. I think it's a cultural. It has become a cultural thing now, where men do just not care about their offspring. It's just another one. I can make another one, but I think it ties to the mother more than anything else.
So how you feel about the mother has a lot to do with how you treat the child, man.
Yes.
I really thought that was like something that women did, and I really thought it was a very immature thing sometimes women do. Like if you hate the father, all of a sudden then some women start acting funny towards the child, nah? And in many cases they're not, obviously you the mother, you have to take care of the child and things like that. But it seems like that thing plagues men way more, like times 10.
Yes, I can make this example where a man can have a child with somebody, but because the man has no feelings towards that person or doesn't care or hates that person, that also transfers to the child. They have no feelings for the child.
But like, what did the poor child do though? That's so bad.
A man can marry a woman, who he deeply loves, and that woman comes with kids. Yeah. And that man will treat those kids
that aren't even his
very well, because
so it really has a lot to do with the woman. Like,
I think in most cases, because you can see even in this interaction, he doesn't even want to talk to her.
Children ain't that deep for men, nah?
No, not at all.
It's clearly like it's not that deep. It's not as deep as it is for women.
Well,
and I think that's why it's easier for men in situations like or even before the baby comes, for men to encourage women to have an abortion and things like that without even thinking about it. Like, for them, it's like, are you serious? Are you really gonna keep this child? And as opposed to how the woman feels, like, oh my God, it's a life, and things like that. So you guys aren't really that emotionally attached to the process and the child themselves.
It's a very touchy subject because it's depending on the person you're talking to. They have a very different view on how children are looked at. So I think it's also mainly based on the environment you also grew up in. So the people who grew up in good families, family in a good structure, they will value and appreciate their offspring,
because you've learned what it means to have a father or be a father, and
yes.
So if you didn't have that experience, you're most likely not going to know how to do it, and you're going to think it's okay to not.
Because a lot of these people, they come from broken families, broken households, and obviously if you grown up as a man or you grown up as a boy, your father left and you just stuck with your mom, and then when you have a child with somebody you don't even care for, you more than likely will do the same thing. So that's what usually happens. It's just a repeating cycle. It's just a repeating cycle that happens. But but
it seems like the people that don't care about children are the most irresponsible ones. They're the ones that are always making kids. The ones that don't want children.
Yeah, it's also another thing of discipline. Like, unfortunately, a lot of men are not disciplined. They don't have the discipline it required to make those decisions to say, okay, I do not want a child.
Yeah.
So the simplest thing to do if you don't want a child is to wear a condom. That's the simplest thing to do.
And they definitely don't.
But they do not have that discipline to say that, okay, if I don't want a child, let me just wear a condom. No, sex is too good without a condom. So I gotta get my sex without a condom. I'm gonna try pull out.
But they don't want to be about the consequences. They don't want to be about what happens after. And like, I think it's the craziest thing to have sex without a condom for someone that you don't really feel that much for. Like, what are you expecting to happen? Like, I think it's very selfish.
Yeah, so it's also that thing of like not grown up in a proper household where there's like a father figure there who's gonna tell you all these things. Because you need to be told that, okay, cool, as much as sex is this and that and that, but this is what it means when you lay down with somebody. This is what could happen, and these are the consequences that come with that. And you as a man need to be responsible for that. There's nobody telling these boys growing up like, you need to be responsible.
And just being told stuff like that, it makes a huge difference. Like, having those conversations, because like you might take them lightly, like maybe being a person that did receive those conversations, it's like, oh, but I'm sure as you grow you realize that, whoa, that conversation made a huge difference in my life. Like the reason why I didn't get caught up in certain things was because I had that conversation. And really, I think it really sucks because these men are creating more generations of men alike, because those guys, these children of theirs are going to grow up with no male figure that is there to, guide them and to speak to them and tell them. And like when you have a baby with somebody that you don't like, or you can't even tolerate, or you can't stand, you're making a very difficult life for yourself and obviously for your child. Like, that's a very difficult life, because you're always gonna dread, like, I'm sure, like, for him, because it seems like somewhere in his heart he loves his kid. It seems like with the Presley situation, somewhere in his heart he loves his kid. Like, you see that with men that, when they post their kids and whatever, like, for that's a big thing for men when they do that. That kind of shows that, it's only men that do absolutely nothing and never see their kids. Then you're like, okay, well, this guy actually doesn't give any kind of shit. But now I'm sure it's with someone he can't stand, like, who gives him crazy baby mama drama, and and then that also, with the whole baby mama drama situation, obviously you can't blame the woman, nah? You can't blame her. I personally don't think I can blame women.
Okay.
If the guy is not. Well, if the guy's not pulling,
his weight.
Yes, his weight, and he's not doing his part, that's gonna make you a crazy person. Because you're sitting in constant frustration that this person is not doing what they need to do. Almost like you made this baby yourself. You're the only parent. Imagine going through what we're going through. Like, okay, this is our first baby, right? Imagine going through all of that alone. Already it's a lot when you go through it together, like, as the parents of the child. Now imagine having to go through that alone. If the child is sick, you have to worry about the child alone. If the child needs something, you have to worry about that. That's your responsibility, as if you made that child alone. You know what I mean? That is frustrating. That's gonna make you like a very vindictive person, a very angry person. Like, that's gonna make me want to make your life miserable, because you've made my life a fucking hell.
Well, so there's this thing that now men are being taught that you must be very careful about how you engage with a woman in terms of sexual acts, right? They say that once you're not in her, all control is on her. You've literally given her all the control. But before all of that, you still have control of everything. So it is very wise for men to okay, I know when you're in the heat of the moment, you're thinking with your dick, and you just want to nut, you want to feel good, you know, you just want to enjoy the sex. But these are life-changing decisions, and you can't just do whatever you want and hope for the best and think that things are not gonna.
Or you think stupid things like, oh no, she's gonna go take a morning after pill. Don't be stupid, man. Don't be stupid. Don't do that. Even if a girl promises you that she's gonna do that, don't even fall for that. Like, don't.
Yeah, but then a lot of the times, I find it weird when it's like grown people, like people in their 30s and 40s doing these weird things like that.
Yeah.
For kids, it's more understandable because we're kids.
They don't know better. It's like you don't know better. Like,
you always like
you experiment.
You always like to take risks and do all those things. But for grown people, but then they probably did this shit when they were young as well. So anyway, as a man, before you nut, you have full control of whether you can have a baby with this person or not. But after you're not in this person, the control is on the woman, right? Again, I also have to place it on the women to say that if you clearly see that this person does not want to have a child with you and you still want to have that child, you need to understand the consequences of that. That this person is going to either ghost you or you're going to have a very rough relationship with that person.
Yes.
So it's also not just going to be like you're going to force the guy to be there.
And unfortunately, like a lot of women do have that mentality, like that. You know, I don't know how many times we've been told in our lifetimes that a baby does not keep a man, but still, women still will have that mindset to try and chop a nigga with a baby. Like that, in many cases, women do.
But I think even if you don't keep that person, you will always have access to that person, regardless.
For some people, that's enough. Like, that's enough. But they don't think that how does that look like? How is that relationship gonna look like? Like, for some, it ends up becoming very miserable because some guys aren't so nice. Some guys aren't so or some guys don't have like that conscience at all. You know that to have like. Was just like a guilty conscience numbers or so. Some guys don't have that. That will remind at the end of the day, that's your child, that's your flesh and blood.
Well,
don't.
A lot of men are very selfish. Like they will put themselves first before anything else.
That's why I'll be like, well, how you want to play games like that? Men are selfish creatures.
Yeah, men are very selfish.
Selfish creatures.
If you're doing something that will jeopardize what they got going on in their life, obviously they'll cut you off. And they'll make it known that they want nothing to do with you because you jeopardizing their life.
Oh yep.
So it's a very rough game and it's very tricky. But you can just avoid all this mess by either condomizing or abstaining or having sex with a person that you're willing to have a child with.
But for the moment, for me, the moment that you don't use a condom with me, I'm thinking that you about this life. Like you obviously about this life. Like that if anything happens, you're about it.
Another bad thing is women. Another terrible thing with women is that you meet a guy who has kids with multiple people, and you go and make the same mistake. And you think he's gonna stay with you.
Oh no!
Like he's something special.
I've seen that so many times, and honestly, I don't know why we still fall.
You guys play too much. You play too much. Like it's the same. It's the exact thing that happens with Mpho
and Temba. Like the previous baby mama done showed you who this guy is. She showed you his true colors. She went through the experience so that you don't have to. And no, I want to see it for myself. Because we always have this thing as women, like, oh, you can change the person, or maybe the person was waiting for you in their life. And we only think like that because it's true in some cases. It happens in some cases. Yes, no, the man can change.
It's really dependent on the man. Once the man decides that, okay, I am done now with this life, I want to settle.
But it does take an element of that woman changing that.
That's the Disney fairy tale that y'all are told. That's really that Disney stuff that y'all are told. That, oh, y'all can change the man or whatever. No, it is really on the man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what a great person you are.
Yeah.
If this man still wants to be in the streets,
he gonna be in the street.
He will not value what you bring to him if he still wants to be in the street. Yeah. He will not value that shit.
Like, no matter how good you are, that's true. You'll do everything.
So there's so many instances of that where young men, they meet like good women, but because they're still young, they want to fuck around, they want to do all that. They end up cheating, or they do all these things, mess it up and stuff, and then they regret it later, saying, "Oh, I had a good woman." So it's solely dependent on the man to say that no.
Oh, that's true.
I want to settle down now. I'm good with this life. It's the Disney fairy tale. Maybe it happens.
So when men make kids like with multiple people, and I'm not saying making them as like they're actively trying to, but hey, they're doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. Do you think like they see those as their mini family?
Well, there's some people. So I've been watching a lot of Penel's content, and he's wrestling with this idea. So he has like 6 kids with 4 different women. Okay. And so in his mind, he's thinking that
he's more polygamous in his mind.
In his mind, he's thinking that he wants to have a polygamous family because that will make sense in his situation right now.
But to be honest, it's supposed to be like that, because what are you saying? What must happen with those women? Like, think about it. You men are always talking about how a woman's, and I'm not saying this is going to be true just because y'all are saying it, but a woman's value sort of decreases somehow when she has children, right?
That's true.
And only because the father of that child is supposed to be the one that is accepting you and loving you.
Yes,
that is a natural thing that is happening, a natural occurrence. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to fight twice as much if you still have to be on the market because the father of your child has failed to, play his part. Now you have to try because you are not supposed to be on the market, basically.
Yes, yes.
So now, what are you as the man who did that? Who ruined her market value? What are you thinking must happen to her?
Well, ideally you'd want to have a kid with, well, if you're in a monogamous relationship, you want to have a kid with one person and then spend the rest of your life with that person and you grow up. But then it can happen that, okay, you made a mistake when you're young, you have a kid with somebody that you never actually saw a future with, but you have the kid with that person.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That
Y'all do this whole co-parenting thing. You go on about your life, she goes on about hers. Just as long as the kid is good, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But that's up to the woman. That's what must can happen with the
to
mother.
her. Okay, let's take it away from the young, because the young one you can sort of understand because you were young and stupid and whatever. Now you're older, you make a child with somebody, right? And then you go and make a child with another person, right? And then you go and make a child, maybe you marry the third one. What are you saying must happen to those 2 women that have your child now, that you probably promised the moon and the stars to?
No, but then the relationship ended. What else can happen? The relationship is done.
But what if you like they didn't want it to end because they love you as the father of their child?
Yes, and you continue loving me as the father of the child, but we're no longer in a relationship.
But it's your responsibility.
My children are my responsibility.
But do you get what I'm saying, though? Y'all are just going around ruining people's lives, and it's just not okay.
Man, you're acting like you're being raped or something.
It's not.
You also made the decision to have unprotected sex with these men. You also
because maybe you saw a long-term future with this person.
Yes.
Women are more likely to do that because they see a long-term or hope for a long-term relationship.
But me, I always say this, right? As a woman, having a child is not pop and flesh.
Yeah.
It really changes you. Like it really changes you as a woman. You sacrifice basically your youth.
Yep.
To have this child. So it's a decision that you shouldn't take lightly. It's not something that you should be thinking, I want to keep this man, I must have a child. You must see that, no, this person is willing to do the distance.
To go through.
You need to spend at least a year with this person, and that person needs to show the intentions of.
But sometimes, sometimes how men, they can show you, they are good partners. Maybe you don't look too hard to see if they can be good dads, but they show you, like a good partner. And then boom, baby happens and you see, suddenly he has cold feet and stuff like that.
Oh, that's life. I guess it's a gamble that you gotta take at the end of the day. An interesting thing. Have you ever heard like Zulu men talk about like sex in general? Have you ever heard like
no?
It's kind of crazy when you hear like people in KZN when they talk about sex and how they view sex, right? So what happens is Zulu men in KZN, I usually hear these chats in KZN. Zulu men, once they start having sex, right? They start having sex and then it's cool. And then once they start having raw sex, that's when things just go haywire. They just never want to turn back from that. Like once they start having raw sex,
like with that person or like in general.
Once they start having raw sex, they never want to turn back from that. They never want to go back to using a condom. So no matter who they meet,
they gonna be sick.
Even if it's a random, even if it's like an ex-girlfriend or side or whatever, they just want to have raw sex now.
So that's why it's probably so strict for their women when they're cheating.
Yes. It's very bad there because if you know, KZN has one of the highest, or if not the highest AIDS rate in the world, like in the world. That's how bad it is there. And if you listen to these guys speak when they're talking about sex and all that, you can hear that.
Now you can see where it's coming from and why.
Condoms are not a thing there. Like condoms are not a thing. They are very irresponsible and they're just like, hey man, I love raw sex and that's how I'm gonna rock. And that's how they move the whole time. So in those cases as well, you just see a lot of them having kids with many different women, and it's just normal there. It's like very normal. It's normal behavior. Like in KZN, it's normal to find.
He's the father of our children.
But then also the women need to do better as well. As much as men are bad, men are very irresponsible.
But like, just as much as you guys
just say be like, I'm not gonna have sex with you without a condom. Just say that, and then it's like, okay, then the man has to decide that. Yeah.
But like, let me just say, just like you guys say, it's your nature to wanna, plant your seeds everywhere and stuff like that. We also have natures, okay? It's also like in our nature, like to want a family, to want a baby, for a man. And like, you can't help sometimes who you are attracted to. And sometimes you want the baby for the person that you are attracted to, you see. So like,
then it's a decision that you're gonna have to live with if you pick the wrong man to have a baby for.
But y'all not living with your decision.
Yes, because we can. It's as simple as that. We don't have to live with our decision. But okay, jokes aside, it's very important for if women want to stop this whole thing of men just sleeping around and having kids everywhere with people, you have to give consequences to that, right?
Okay, what would you suggest as a consequence?
So if I advocate for the women who have kids with deadbeats, they take them to court and they get their maintenance, get whatever you can out of the man. Just get everything that you can out of him, so that next time he will think twice before doing that again. Yeah, because he cannot afford.
But like some women, they just like, and these women, we don't hear about them a lot because of the stunts that they take. But some women just keep quiet and just walk away, from the situation.
Then you're not giving.
I know.
You're not giving that man any consequence. So that's bad. Don't do that. That is bad.
So you're not bad to actually, call for Papgeld to go to the court and want Papgeld.
I only say you bad once you know that the man did not want to have this baby in the first place and you decided to keep it, then I say you bad for doing that. But if he sold you the dreams and he was like, oh, let's have this baby, and then he
but
just...
do you all understand what goes into that decision?
Yes, then you need to understand the consequence as well.
Okay, so, fine. So you're saying, because I decided to keep this baby on my own, so that means it is my baby.
Yes.
It's my responsibility. So you know that now again you should lose all rights. I think at that point we should sign a contract to say that you have no rights to this child at any point in their life.
Yeah, I think that would be
because fair. This, as far as you're concerned, this baby's dead.
I think that would be fair. I think that would be fair.
You have no right to even tell this kid that this is your baby, or else you'll be fined or go to jail.
What if the kid wants to find out who the father is?
No.
You just be like, the father's dead.
The father's dead. The baby's dead to you. The father's dead to the kid. Period.
Oh, wow. I think that's fair.
I know, guys.
Yeah, you guys let us know what you think about
it. Let us know what you think. And do you know of any other reasons why men end up becoming deadbeat that we could probably understand? Because none of them make sense. Don't
forget to like, subscribe.
And keep watching. Bye.
We'll check you guys in the next one.